Hey, it's Chris, and today I've got a somewhat unusual review of the OnePlus 5. And what I'm gonna do today is not talk about every little feature and bit of minutia, but instead, in honor of the name, I'm gonna pick 5 things that I need to talk about. So 4 of those things are gonna be my favorite features, and then the last thing is gonna be the worst feature, in my opinion. Now actually, before I get into the features, let me spend a little time just talking about where the OnePlus 5 fits into the market. Because it's important to understand, OnePlus devices are never gonna be market leaders in terms of features. So they're always gonna be equal to or lesser than the other flagship devices out there, with one big exception, and that exception is the price. What I'm really driving at here is that the only reason to buy the OnePlus 5 is in fact the price. It's solid, it's well made, it works well, but it doesn't do things that other flagship phones can't do, except cost less. Now there's a lot that we could cover here. Vibrant screen, fast fingerprint scanning, a very simple Android skin, but the good stuff that I really want to concentrate on is the price, the cameras, the dash charging, and the performance. And after that, I'm gonna wrap things up with what I feel is the worst feature about this phone. All right, so the price. This is the OnePlus 5's secret weapon. I got 128 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM for $479. Now that's the top end model of the OnePlus 5. So the Galaxy S8, the LG G6, and the HTC U11 all failed to match the value of the OnePlus 5 for the price. Now that, of course, is only if you're considering the specs and not other more interesting features or the design. But when you compare the OnePlus 5 to the previous OnePlus models, it costs $80, $150, and $180 more than the 3 previous versions. That said, it's still a great value compared to other flagship devices, and the value margin is still there. Now, if you're looking for the best core features that are available on an Android phone, and you want those at an affordable price, then this is the phone for you. Now don't get things confused, because this definitely isn't a budget phone. What it is a more affordable flagship level device. And I could probably end this video just right there, but of course I won't. So let's talk about the camera next. And actually, this dual camera setup is one of my favorites across the board for current gen phones in terms of quality and output. Let's put it this way, I've loved the iPhone camera for so long. Until the Pixel came out, I really considered it the unchallengeable best camera out there. But to be honest, I really prefer the way that pictures and videos have looked on the OnePlus 5 versus the iPhone 7 Plus. Now, I did a comparison of these two guys a few videos back, so I'll leave the link for that down in the description if that's something that you're interested in. I do think that low light photos is one example of where the OnePlus 5 could probably improve a little bit, but I do like the color, sharpness, and saturation. The way that those are tuned on here is just about perfect in my book. On the video side, you can shoot in 4K, which is cool. I like the quality, but you won't be able to see all those details on the phone screen itself because that's only 1080. With the dual cam setup, the main lens does have optical image stabilization, which works pretty good, but the secondary lens doesn't have it, so things are quite a bit shakier. I should also mention that there's a portrait mode like the iPhone 7 Plus, but unlike the iPhone 7 Plus, this one's not quite as good. So that's one area where the 7 Plus does win out, but you know what? It's better than not having it, and it does a pretty decent job under the right circumstances. Next up, I want to talk about the dash charging and battery life. Now, a lot of Androids have had quick charging capabilities for a while now, so that's not really news, but I think if somebody is considering switching to Android and to the OnePlus 5 in particular, then the dash charging may be the tiebreaker. 60% charge in 30 minutes is amazing. It's awesome. I love it. I'm a pretty heavy user, so I can just about kill a phone in any given day, but it's nice to be able to recharge and get back and up and running really quickly. Also, about an hour and 20 minutes will get you fully charged. The last feature out of the 4 good features that I wanted to mention was just performance. So when you're talking about phone performance, what you're really talking about is how fast apps open, how smooth is scrolling, and are there any hiccups in any of the navigation and interface. Now fortunately, but not surprisingly given the specs, this phone is a real champ when it comes to performance. So it's just as good, maybe slightly better than the favorite Android phones out there, and the price to performance ratio is just killer. Or maybe overkill. One of those two. So those are my favorite OnePlus 5 features, which brings us to the last item, which is the worst feature. And when I say worst, I don't even mean bad. It's just the worst thing that I could come up with for this video, because this is a super solid phone. So what is the worst feature? Well, it's the design. Now, you can argue with me all you want about this, but this looks very similar to the iPhone 7 Plus. It feels better in the hand than the iPhone 7 Plus, smaller but with the same screen size, but nonetheless, it looks like the iPhone 7 Plus. Well, what's wrong with that? I thought you were an iPhone fan, Chris. And yeah, I am, but as I just finished saying in the previous video, the iPhone 7 Plus design is tired. I'm sick of it, and it's kind of boring. Now don't get me wrong, the design on both phones is fine, but it's just not novel. So it's a good thing, I think, that OnePlus sent me several different cases to change up the look of this. So I'd love to know what you guys think of the OnePlus 5. Let me know down in the comments. Just be nice to everybody down there if you want your comments to live to see the light of day. Don't forget to follow me. I'm at Daily Tech, spelled Daily Tekk on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, and I'll catch you in the next video.